The worst feeling in the world is when you feel like you did all the right things, you followed all the right processes and systems, and you hit your goal and you are successful, but at the same time, you just don't feel like you are. On this episode, I want to talk about something we all do as growth-oriented people. We constantly move the goalpost, and even when we are successful, we don't quite feel it. Intro. What's up, everybody? I'm TK, and you are watching another Unstoppable Sunday. Unstoppable Sunday are all about becoming more proactive in our lives and asking ourselves two questions. Number one, where am I? And number two, what do I do next? Today, I want to talk about success. And I want to talk about how do we measure success and how do we go after the goals that we care about. In my life, succeeding isn't enough. I want to be feeling fulfilled about what I'm working on. I want to feel complete. I want to work on things that make me feel alive. In my last episode, I talked about how the way I know that I'm growing as a person, achieving things that are important, is that I feel scared. Those emotions exist to help us push out our boundaries, and it's no different when we're thinking about setting goals and going after the right goals. The thing is, when it comes to being unstoppable, there are three components to the whole puzzle. The first piece, and a lot of people graze over this piece, is vision setting and the goal. So quickly we jump from one thing to another without thinking about, is it important to us? In a long view, will we feel fulfillment from achieving it? Or is it just a challenge in front of us and we want to go solve it? So thinking about the vision, setting the goal, and being very purposeful about picking the right goals, super important. You can't graze through it. A lot of what we talk about on this channel, and especially on Unstoppable, are tips, tricks, strategies around how to do ruthless execution. So often we talk about the things we're going to do, but we never do them. We talk about the big aspirations we have, but we don't do the work to go after them. We spend a lot of time talking about ruthless execution, whether it's having a to-do list structured a certain way, or setting goals and having a system for checking and reflecting on those goals on a regular basis. Ruthless execution is super important. But just as important is actually celebrating the small and big wins. So often we move the goalposts just as we're about to succeed on a goal that we've set. I've worked on goals for 10 years, and as I'm accomplishing those, I'm already so comfortable about it, I'm over it, I don't even stop to celebrate, and I move on to the next goal, and I'm so hard on myself. And a lot of us are that way, that are growth oriented. We quickly set goals, we spend a lot of time executing, going through the hard stuff, and just as we're accomplishing the goal, we're moving on to the next thing, and we don't celebrate the wins. And even more so, when you're going after big goals, we fail to celebrate the small wins, the wins along the way, instead of just holding our breath for the win all the way at the end of the road. I've been working really hard on making sure I cover all three of these: setting the right vision, going after the right goals, ruthless execution, but also celebrating the wins, big or small. For true fulfillment, to actually feel like you're accomplishing things and you're going after the right things and you're having the right strategy in your life, you need to pay attention to all three. You need to be good at setting the right goals and the right vision, ruthless execution, and also celebrating the wins. If you do one or the other, it won't be enough. You will not be able to run the marathon of life. You won't become unstoppable. Probably the biggest thing when I think about what motivates me and inspires me is going after a big goal, setting the right vision that really matters to me. It's not enough for me to just win in a project or just get a job. It's got to have a big impact. The reason I do Unstoppable, for example, is our goal at Unstoppable is to help at least 1,000 people. We want to just take 1,000 people and help those 1,000 people be 10% more proactive in their life. We believe that if you're more proactive, if you have belief, if you have discipline, you can do unstoppable things in life. And so if we can do that to 1,000 people and help them be 10% more proactive, we think that we can shift the axis of the earth. We can change the destiny, because those 1,000 people can go impact 10,000 people, and then those 10,000 people can go impact 100,000 people, and so on and so forth. And it can start with our vision of just doing this Unstoppable Sunday thing, this Unstoppable Strategies thing, and that can impact 1,000 people. That is a big goal. I spent a lot of time thinking about that goal, thinking about the vision of that goal, why that's important to me. And we spend a lot of time ruthlessly executing on this. And These episodes, they take almost 2 days to create. There's a whole team that works to make these successful. A lot of thought goes into it just for a 7-minute episode. And the reason we do it, the reason we work so hard is because that vision, that goal is so big, is so crazy to me. Just 1,000 people, 10% more proactive, massive exponential impact on the planet. That excites me. That's a goal that really gets me going. And so often we pick goals that are too small and just trying to get by, and that's when we lose steam. We don't do ruthless execution. We forget to celebrate the wins because we haven't really thought about the goal. I think deeply about the unstoppable goal. And celebrating is something I've always been bad at. I always move the goalpost behind as soon as I come close to accomplishing a goal. And oftentimes I don't celebrate the small wins. And so this episode is super special to me because we're coming up on roughly 1 year of Unstoppable. And we have this big vision, we've been ruthlessly executing, and I wanted to take a moment and also just celebrate the small wins. And we often forget to do that. In the past year that Unstoppable is online, we've clocked over 17,000 minutes of watch time on these episodes. In the past year, we now have over 10,000 followers on our Instagram account, where we share daily pieces of inspiration and life strategies every day. In the past year, we've had over 1,000 people download our Unstoppable Life Planning Guide. That's the guide we use for free to teach you to be more proactive in life. And in the past year, over 150 people have subscribed to this YouTube channel. Instagram is hard to do, getting attention is hard to do. YouTube is one of the hardest things. We're super proud and thankful for the 150 subscribers that we have. Over 10,000 followers that we have on Instagram that direct message us on a consistent basis. Over the 1,000 people that gave us their email address and downloaded our guide and is trying to live a more proactive life. And the 17,000 minutes of episodes, over 35 episodes that we've done this year. I'm just super proud of the team. And speaking of the team, I know that you always see me as the face of Unstoppable, but if you're gonna impact 1,000 people, and that 1,000 people are gonna impact 10,000, and that 10,000 is gonna impact 100,000, I can't do it alone. And so I've started to build a whole team around me. We've got Mimi, who's our Instagram strategist and manager. When we started working together, she was living in Greece, traveling through Europe, and she now lives in San Francisco. We've got Sasa, who's out of Serbia, and he is our YouTube manager, and he figures out the ways to distribute our content in a really effective way. We've got Andrian, our video editor. He's from the Philippines. As soon as I do this video, I upload it into Dropbox, he downloads it, he works as magic, and it all flows from there. And we have even Amina, who's traveling through India right now and just onboarded as one of our writers, so we can take our blog content to the next level. Unstoppable is a big, big vision, and I spent a lot of time thinking about it. And we've been ruthlessly executing on it, and the results are pretty exciting. And even more so, this is us doing a small win. As a globally distributed team, we want to thank you for supporting us. We want to thank you for watching these videos. And most importantly, we want to thank you for inspiring us. The biggest thing that drives me at the end of the day, no matter which company I started, all the companies I started, all the projects that I've worked on, there's always been two things that really made the difference for me. One was the promise of the impact. What'll happen if we're successful at this? What is the big world-changing impact that we can do? That's always driven me. And the other is the people. You, people like you that write in emails, write in our comments, like our posts, subscribe and share. You guys make this worthwhile. The team that I work with make it worthwhile. The people that I come across at a random party and they're like, oh my God, Unstoppable, I've been watching your stuff. That's what makes this worthwhile. When you are thinking about getting motivated and getting inspired, think about these three things. Think about setting a vision and a goal that you're passionate about. As passionate as I am about Unstoppable, think about ruthless execution. We have tons of videos on how to ruthlessly execute around your goals. Massive action to actually move things forward. But most importantly, learn how to celebrate. This is me celebrating. I celebrated last week with Mimi. We got dinner and ordered a crazy bottle of wine. And we said, once we hit 20,000 followers on Instagram and 1,000 more people downloading our guide, we're gonna order a bottle of Dom. And those are our small wins and those are our celebrations. Those are the things that get you even more inspired. So when you're going out there, figure out what's the thing that really moves you. Pick a big vision and an impact and go do the things that are gonna make you unstoppable. I'll leave you with this one mental trick that I always teach people, and I try to apply for myself. We as growth-oriented people are so hard on ourselves. We always say, oh, I could have done this better, or I could have done more of this. Here's the one mental trick that I always get people to think about. Think about you from 5 years ago. If you from 5 years ago met you today as a stranger, and that person from 5 years ago, you were like, hey, what do you do? How do you spend your day? What have you been up to? And you describe all the things you've done in the past year. Describe how you spend your days. You describe the things you've accomplished. I guarantee you from 5 years ago is gonna be like, oh my God, that person is so cool. I wanna be that person 5 years from now. I wanna be doing those things 5 years from now. That's who you are. And we so quickly, we forget to give ourselves credit for all the things we're accomplishing. We don't realize how to celebrate our wins. And as we move goalposts to go on to bigger goals, we forget to pause and reflect and ask ourselves, what's the big thing I'm gonna go after? And so I'm gonna leave you with that. How are you thinking about the next 365 days of the year? How are you thinking about setting the right goal for your life so you feel super pumped about it? As pumped as I feel about Unstoppable. Go figure that out, because that's what's gonna unlock a decade of productivity for you. And remember, most importantly, the thing that you need is a strategy for your life. But particularly for your strategy for your life, yours needs to be unstoppable. Thank you for watching. Thank you for being part of this journey. Please like, comment, subscribe, and email me if you want to talk more, tk@getunstoppable.com. I'll see you next week.